Welcome back to the Final Fantasy XII playthrough, and in today's part, we gotta go through the sewers again, guys. But at least things are a little bit more interesting, since now we're going to learn about the pseudo-main gameplay gimmick to Final Fantasy XII. The Gambit system. Now, this is where the gameplay goes from generally understandable, fairly boring and slow to, oh my god, what is this? I don't even. You see, the way the Gambit system works is that, as you can see, it's a two-part thing. For one little Gambit slot thing, you have a cause. Basically, say, if a teammate has too low HP, or if you're nearby a foe, you'll do an action, whether it's using a potion, casting a healing spell, or attacking an enemy, or casting specific spells. Now, this is all well and good, but until you take into account all of the different variables you can add. Like you've probably already saw, there are different categories for gambits. There are different, all the different question marks are all individual causes. And these can be things like, if an enemy is weak to a certain spell, or if a party member is inflicted with a certain status ailment. And when you take into account that you don't even have all of this stuff, you're going to be in real trouble when you come across a situation where you need a cause like, oh, I need to be able to cast poison now when I'm poisoned. On a positive note, even though you have to buy the cause gambit at gambit stores, you automatically get effects based on, well, your abilities. Like, for example, if you can cast fire, blizzard, and thunder, then you can automatically set up a gambit so that way you can cast those spells. So basically, it's just a matter of
insurgents
buying the gambits you
most likely
need.
thought to take advantage of a lax watch at the palace while the fate's on, to feed the good consul a length of steel for his supper.
Okay,
I
wait
should
a
think
minute,
Vane used to such hospitality. Clever.
So,
He used
what
himself
this
as a
cutscene
bait
is
to draw them
saying
near,
is
and then
that
sent in the air brigade.
Vane,
A
who
fine
came to
bloody banquet.
Rabanasta, preaching words
I dare
of
say
peace
I've
and
soiled
prosperity
my
between the
cuffs.
two countries,
If a dungeon's waiting
was
for us at the end of the
actually
night,
planning
we'd
on
best
having
have
this
a
whole
change of
party
wardrobe.
so that way he can capture some resistance. So, does Arcadia just have their fingers crossed for every situation imaginable? I'd hate to see any advertisements for Arcadia, you know, like all those California commercials. Oh yeah, come to Arcadia, we're like the best country ever, kill, die, murder, stab. But I'm just showing off right now how you can actually turn off and switch out your gambits. You see, the way the gambit order works is that it basically takes up, it determines exactly what order you're going to do things. Basically, the computer is always checking these gambits to make sure they don't need to do something. Like, for example, if you have healing at the top, then whenever there's a situation where a party member has too little HP, they'll stop what they're doing just so that way they can heal. And you see, with the gambit setup, my party members will automatically attack. And Balthier and Fran actually show off a new sort of weapon in possibly something I don't think the Final Fantasy franchise has ever actually done before. Guns! Okay, that's not true. There's Vincent Valentine in Final Fantasy VII, but shut up. Anyways, the way the guns and bows work is that as you would expect, you can attack from long range, so you don't have to be up close when fighting enemies. Although, the drawback is that they're not really that strong, and it's a two-handed weapon thing. Basically, you have the bows and you have the gun. That's pretty much it. But you also have to equip an offhand item. Basically, your ammunition, your bullets, and your arrows. Right now, Balthier and Fran have onion bullets and onion arrows, basically the weakest items in the game. But later on, you can get bullets and arrows that are not only stronger, but can also cause status ailments, and that's about it. There are other weapons with different effects, like for example, the sword is your basic weapon, but it allows you to equip a shield. But we'll come across those weapons later on, and oh my god, is this dungeon boring. But you know what? Let's take the opportunity to actually examine what has happened, because I think a lot has happened recently, alright? So, we started off saying, alright, we're going to sneak into the Archadien Palace, and we're going to steal some treasure. That's all well and good, but, did you notice all that Vaughn stole was the goddess's magicite? Is just one rock enough for him to say, yep, we're done, we're even now. This is all the treasure I think Archadia has stolen. And no reason stealing anything else. I mean, I know that he was kind of rushed by Balthier and Fran, but I mean, we don't know how long he's been there. He was rummaging through stuff in the beginning of the cutscene. So basically, he steals one thing and that's it. And keep in mind, Vaughn's basically trying to be Robin Hood. You know, take from the rich, give to the poor. But he also believes that Archadia should be free. Don't you think that he would be helping the Resistance in any way he can? Especially since he's found a hidden way into the palace's treasury? I mean, that's like having all the secrets to a fortress, basically every nook and cranny, but only using it just that way you can say hi to your buddy in jail. I mean, what's the point? He could sell that information so that way he could get money, and he could get self-satisfaction in knowing that he helped the Resistance free his country. Also, there's frogs in the dungeon. Giant, freaky, ugly-ass frogs that drop horns. I don't know why. This is Final Fantasy. It doesn't make much sense. So now, going through the dungeon. Once again, nothing much has really happened. Although, one thing to take note is that Balthier and Fran also have license boards that you have to fill up. And they start off with pretty much accumulated LP. Actually, one thing to note is that the bullfrogs, I'm calling them bullfrogs because they drop horns in their frogs, but anyways, they drop a lot. You probably noticed that they drop a lot of EXP. If you take the time to fight just about every monster you see, then you'll probably get a good sum of EXP and probably level up. I'd say being at about level 8 in this area. Also, if you're fleeing, your gambits are automatically turned off. You can manually turn off your gambit, so that way if you don't want your party members to attack somebody, and if you don't want to be healed right away, you can turn that off. But right now, fleeing is probably your best bet, especially when you come across a scenario where you don't really want to get into a fight with a big bad nasty, but your party members attack anyway. Kinda retarded that way. But so far we haven't really seen anything. Oh, save crystal. Know what that means, guys. Planned event. That's right. But yeah, it's always good whenever you see a save crystal. It generally means that something is going to happen. Just one final look, you always want to make sure your gambits are in order before every event, but yeah, whenever you see a save crystal just in the middle of a dungeon, that generally means something is going to happen. It's pretty obvious. It's like in Legend of Zelda when you see a gigantic field with nothing in it. I mean, not like Hyrule Field, but I mean like in a dungeon.
Close ranks, bring her down.
And we see a woman getting cornered by guards. I really can't make a witty comment out of this. Jump down, it'll give me the perfect opportunity to look up your skirt. There we go, finally. And you would think, oh my god, there must be a love interest between these two characters. Obviously, you haven't heard this story before. But anyways, this is probably where combat gets most interesting, because with your gambit set up, your party members will just go everywhere, and it just looks like a cluttered mess, but it looks really good. Well, at least to me. But yeah, nothing really interesting about this battle. The only thing to take into note is that one of the guards, the guy that has the blue octagon or hexagon or whatever it is, has protect. It just means he has a higher defense, that's it.
You alright?
Thank you.
I'm Vaughn. And this is Balthier, and...
What the hell's a
hey,
Vaughn? Don't you at least
What's
want to
your
get her
name?
number?
Amalia.
Amalia, huh?
I
Nice to
can't
meet
really
you.
think of anything with a name like Amalia.
There were others with me. I'm sorry.
How do you know they're dead?
Oh,
Guys, I think my rock's
Don't get any
evolving.
ideas. I said
Help!
it's mine.
I'm afraid the jury's still out on that one.
You stole that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have you finished? When the guards
you're not
don't
interested
report
in
in,
stealing
they'll
stuff,
come
are
looking
you?
for us.
If they aren't already.
You should come with us. Better than being by
And yet,
yourself.
for some odd reason, no matter how long we stay here, no guards
Very
seem to
well.
come.
What's wrong with her?
You have a lot to learn before we even
You
get
know,
started on your
PMS.
thievery.
Am I right, guys?
What's that mean?
Yeah, that wasn't funny. But I want to thank you for watching, and next time we'll finally get out of this dungeon.